Analog versus digital. If I was like a really bad person and I could steal one thing from the studio and just like grab it and run, it would be this Shadow Hills Mastering Compressor. I can't stand my mixes without using this this compressor. I don't know what I'm gonna do if I ever leave here. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. Just look at the knobs. It's just so satisfying. We're gonna be taking a quick rough mix I did of a kind of folk bluegrass song, and we are going to be comparing this $10,000 mastering grade compressor to the Plug-in Alliance Shadow Hills plug-in version of the same thing. And the plug-in runs for a couple $100 or it's less, I guess, if you get the subscription. But let's just say, I don't know the actual price. Let's just say it's $200 compared to $10,000. Can we hear the $9,800 difference, or is it gonna be something that's like, oh, it's kind of better? Let's find out. In my session, I have two duplicate tracks that are the exact same mix that were printed directly from this analog SSL duality fuse straight into Pro Tools. I have these labeled analog and plug-in. So the analog is coming to 25 and 26 here on the console. Plug-in is coming to 27 and 28. On the analog version of the mix, I have that patched on an insert directly on this channel here. And then the plugin, of course, I have the actual Shadow Hills plugin right here. I'm gonna play this section of the song for you so you can kind of just hear the feel of what's going on, and then we'll start playing with some analog gear.
Well, I wonder, what are the wonders of the world? What relates any boy and any girl? There's one love, many loves, any love, any drug that you can know, but you don't know nothing till you have a lot of nothing, and you don't know love till you have a lot of loving.
All right, so already I can tell that my low end's all weird because I mixed the song with the Shadow Hills engaged, and then I turned it off to obviously print it. And so it sounds kind of funky to me, but we're gonna make it better with the Shadow Hills here. I'm gonna go ahead and engage our Shadow Hills. So this is the setting that is pretty much engaged every single time I mix. I don't really alter the settings that much. I kind of found a sweet spot I really like. So we're gonna listen to the same section with the Shadow Hills engaged in the settings that were there whenever I mixed the song.
Well, I wonder, what are the wonders of the world? What relates any boy and any girl? There's one love, many loves, any love, any drug that you can know, but you don't know nothing till you have a lot of nothing, and you don't know love till you have a lot of loving.
Sweet, so you can already hear the low end in general, it has just such a better response than it did without. And the vocals, especially the background vocals, everything just kind of sits together now. It's not so displaced. I'm gonna play just this beginning a little bit with it off, and then we'll play it again and I'll turn it on just so you get the reference. So this is just raw, no Shadow Hills.
Well, I wonder, what are the wonders of the world? What relates any boy and any girl?
All right, Shadow Hills on.
Well, I wonder, what are the wonders of the world? What relates any boy and any girl?
It's like the feeling of the music just comes out. It's more of a feeling than like an actual auditory experience. I don't know if that's the right word. So on the Shadow Hills, there are technically two different compressors. There's the discrete and the optical. When I first was playing around with this a lot, I really liked the optical, but for some reason, my ear just liked only using the discrete instead of kind of using both, kind of like in parallel. So we're just gonna be sticking with just the discrete. The optical is these guys up here, and then down here is the discrete. The thing I love so much about this compressor is that there's 3 different transformers that you can send the audio through. There's nickel, which is this top guy up here, there's iron, and there's steel. I really like starting on iron. That to me is the more almost like neutral type of sound. It sounds the best on most genres. We're gonna start out just on the iron, get the settings good, and then usually I'll kind of cycle through and just see if one of those other transformers sounds better.
Well, I wonder what are the wonders of the world? What relates any boy and any girl? There's one love, many
Pushing it hard.
any love, any drug that you can know, but you don't know nothing till you have a lot of nothing, and you don't know love till you have a lot of loving.
All right, cool. So I almost didn't change anything. I kind of messed with the recovery a little bit. It's like the release. So I raised that to 0.5. It was at 0.25. It sounded a little bit better. The attack I have on 10 milliseconds. And then the ratios at 2:1. I kind of played with that. All right, so now we have kind of the ideal setting. I want to show you the nickel, iron, and steel. And then we're gonna go to the plugin and do kind of the same thing. So we're gonna start with nickel.
Well, I wonder what are the wonders of the world? What relates any boy and any girl?
All right, now we're going to iron.
Well, I wonder what are the wonders of the world? What relates any boy and any girl?
All right, and then now we have the steel.
Well, I wonder what are the wonders of the world? What relates any boy and any girl?
To me, the iron transformer wins. It wins almost all the time. Typically, if I change to one of the other transformers, I usually have to change the mix a little bit, and I probably would do that based on those other options. But I really, really like where this transformer is sitting. So let's go to the plugin now. Yes. So just for fun, I'm gonna match the exact same settings that are on this analog version, and we're just gonna hear the difference and see how it relates. I got so many comments on the last analog versus digital video that I shouldn't match the settings and that you should just do what's best and all that stuff. But it's kind of the point. It's kind of the point to see like if you're gonna make a plugin and it's gonna look exactly like the unit and you market it exactly like the unit, shouldn't it be kind of close? Like the settings, shouldn't the settings be like kind of close? That's what I'm trying to find out. I'm just curious. All right, plugin. Let's see how it sounds. I'm excited to hear this one.
Well, I wonder what are the wonders of the world? What relates any boy and any girl? There's one love, many loves, any love, any drug that you can know, but you don't know nothing till you have a lot of nothing, and you don't know love till you have a lot of loving.
Okay, on a first listen, it's really interesting. I already can hear that the low end isn't quite there. I mean, the reason why I love the Shadow Hills Mastering Compressor is what it does to the low end. Like, that's the magic of that compressor. Like, the depth in the low end is just so good that when you turn it off, you lose it all, and you're like, no, why? Like, ah! And this guy already doesn't have that. And that low end brings out the warmth in the vocal, and this vocal pretty much sounds like there's not the mastering compressor on it. The vocal and the low end, like the bass and the low end of the guitar, like it sounds like there's nothing on it, even though it's on it and it's working. And the compressor is technically working pretty good. The settings are working closer. I'm gonna try to get the settings to kind of match with the threshold because it's not quite there yet. Let's see what we can do here real quick.
Well, I wonder what are the wonders of the world? What relates any boy and any girl? There's one love, many loves, any drug that you can know, but you don't know. Well, I wonder what are the wonders of the world.
All right, so now I have the threshold on 8, and on the actual hardware version, I have it on 6. So 2 of something, I don't know what that measurement is, but 2 of something different. Now it's compressing exactly the same. So on kind of the bigger vocal parts, it's hitting about -1 dB of gain reduction on both units. The attack and release sounds exactly the same. Like the compression pretty much sounds exactly the same to the analog gear. It's just in the plugin I can hear it more. So we're gonna do back and forth. We're gonna play just this, the start of this verse, a couple bars of it. We're gonna go to the analog, and then we're gonna go to the plugin. Analog, Shadow Hills.
Well, I wonder what are the wonders of the world. What relates any boy and any girl.
Plugin.
Well, I wonder what are the wonders of the world. What relates any boy and any girl.
It's interesting. To me, it just sounds like there's not gear on it. If you were to want to get that same sound that the Shadow Hills analog version has, like this definitely isn't doing that. The compression, sure, is technically doing the same thing, but the character of this unit is far superior, far superior. Let's go, I wanna show you, I think you'll hear it a lot more, this, where the vocals are coming in here. So we're gonna start with plugin this time. So this is plugin Shadow Hills.
But you don't know nothing till you have a lot of nothing. And you don't know love till you have a lot of loving.
Analog.
But you don't know nothing till you have a lot of nothing. And you don't know love till you have a lot of loving.
I think if I were to mix in the box, and of course, if I'm gonna mix in the box, I'm gonna use this plugin, because the plugin is still great. The compressor, like I like that you don't hear the compression so much, which is nice, because that's obviously the draw for the analog gear. But I feel like I would have to do something else. Like I would have to sculpt some EQ in that low end, or add some other plugin to give me that depth in the low end, because obviously you can hear, especially when those background vocals come in, they all sound together. Pay attention to the background vocals. I'm gonna play this one more time. We're gonna start with the analog. Pay attention to the low end of the vocals, the way they're all kind of just sitting together so nicely, and that upright bass. Analog Shadow Hills.
But you don't know nothing till you have a lot of nothing. And you don't know love till you have a lot of loving.
Plugin, low end.
But you don't know nothing till you have a lot of nothing. And you don't know love till you have a lot of loving.
Pretty interesting. All right, so now I really want to compare the difference in the transformers. Like, let's see if maybe the nickel transformer will give me kind of more of that low end thing that I'm looking for, and just making those vocals more cohesive. So I'm going to change the analog unit to nickel. We are going to change the plug-in one to nickel. All right, so analog, nickel.
But you don't know nothing till you have a lot of nothing. And you don't know love till you have a lot of loving.
Plug-in.
But you don't know nothing till you have a lot of nothing. And you don't know love till you have a lot of loving.
It's interesting. I actually like that the plug-in does sound a little bit better in nickel. I'm gonna go back to this verse and listen to analog.
Well, I wonder what are the wonders of the world. What relates any boy and any girl.
Plug in.
Well, I wonder what are the wonders of the world. What relates any boy and any girl.
The plug-in sounds better in nickel. Hardware still wins because it's crazy how different the tone between the two are. I mean, you're just getting a lot of smoothness in the high end with the analog version, and with this one, it kind of almost sounds the same as with nothing on it. So let's try the steel. Plug-in steel.
Well, I wonder what are the wonders of the world? What relates any boy and any girl?
I don't like that one. Plug-in.
Well, I wonder what are the wonders of the world? What relates any boy and any girl? There's one.
I definitely think the nickel sounds the best. Definitely sounds the best as far as the plug-in goes. What I want to do now is I want to bypass the plug-in so you can hear kind of with and without. So this is no analog, this is just how the mix was.
Well, I wonder what are the wonders of the world? What relates any boy and any girl?
And now the plug-in.
Well, I wonder what are the wonders of the world? What relates any boy and any girl?
Now the Shadow Hills analog.
Well, I wonder what are the wonders of the world? What relates any boy and any girl? There's one love, many loves, any love, any drug that you can't know, but you don't know nothing till you have a lot of nothing, and you don't know love till you have a lot of loving.
I always listen to myself. I have this thing I do when I'm mixing or testing out anything. If there's this feeling that I don't want to stop the track when I'm A-Bing stuff, I always like let it go. Like if I get that feeling like, ooh, I want to listen a bit more, I'll let it go. And typically that's like a signal to me that means you're in the right direction or you're going down the right path. So the conclusion is, of course, the $10,000 analog version of the Shadow Hills is the clear winner. Is it the $9,800 difference? I want to make something clear that I didn't make quite clear in the last video. In the last video, I got a lot of, I don't want to call them hater type comments, but I got a lot of comments about, I don't know, like people thinking that I'm above anyone else or whatever because, you know, all this gear is available to me and like kind of how dare you bash plugins, and even to thinking that it was like a paid endorsement by Waves, which is not true. None of that's true. I don't receive any money from any of these plugin companies, not Plugin Alliance, Universal Audio, or Waves at all. This was kind of just a fun way to test out this gear that I have access to currently against these plugins and kind of like have the clear differentiator in my mind, but also for the fact that if I ever do leave this room or go into a smaller room where it's more digital and plug-in based, I'll have that knowledge of like, okay, these are the differences. As an example with the Shadow Hills, it's kind of cool because later on down the road, if I have to do a mix and I can only use the plugin, I now know what those plugins' capabilities are and where it's lacking in comparison to the unit that I am in love with. You know, I don't know if that makes any sense. This is the most important thing I will say. You do not need any of this analog gear to make music, to mix music. Plugins are amazing because they have brought the accessibility from studios like this to you. And there's no excuses to not make great music. That's the point. All these plugins, all this gear means nothing if you're not out there trying your hardest and making great music and using the tools that you have available to make something happen and make it work. Hope you like this video. I'm so excited to see all the good comments of what you thought was different. Is it worth $9,800 extra just for the analog gear? I mean, I would say yes, but I don't have the money to drop on that, so I'd probably say no. Let me know if there's any plugins, hardware gear that you want to see any comparisons to. We have so much of it here. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.